Since the dawn of time, muses have been the inspiration for great works of art and literature. And it sounds like a pretty good gig, in theory. But being a muse is not what it's cracked up to be. Best case scenario, you wind up with a naked statue of yourself in a museum somewhere, taken at an unflattering angle. Worst case scenario, someone makes 500 Days of Summer about you. My experience fell somewhere between the two. My ex-boyfriend wrote a play about me. Now see, every time I tell this story, I feel a little more like a dick. And I tell it a lot. It's a good story, right? Boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy goes crazy and writes a play about her. Every time I tell it, people are like, oh my God, he's so crazy, you must be awesome. But you get the real story. His name was Matt. He was one of those sensitive, artistic types. And I was not. In fact, I told a friend that I'd be telling this story about my feelings, and she sort of winced sympathetically, and she was like, ooh, maybe try referring to them as potatoes instead. That might be easier for you. And the thing is, she's right. For me, feelings are a double four-letter word. I'm Scandinavian. And being Scandinavian means that you come from a long line of blonde, emotionally frigid people. To say that we are in touch with our feelings would be a gross overstatement. At best, we get a postcard from them every 6 to 8 years saying they're enjoying life in the new country. Plus, I went to an all-girls school, so I would never even dream of referring to a guy as my boyfriend. That would imply that I was his girlfriend, and I knew better than that. Girlfriends to me were people with purses who showed up at your sporting events. I wasn't a girlfriend, I was a person. People would ask if Matt and I were dating, and I'd be like, apparently I have a weird laugh. What? We're being people together, but dating, please, what is this, 1830? I mean, sure, I was showing up at his events, but I didn't have a purse. And sure, I was giving him gifts for his birthday and special occasions, but they weren't thoughtful gifts. They were weird gifts like watermelons and scratch tickets and a Happy Administrative Professionals Day card for his birthday. Okay, maybe we were dating. Maybe for once I actually liked a guy, and not just in the way that I like all Jewish guys. Which, like, some people undress you with their eyes, and I just picture you wearing a yarmulke. Yeah, we were dating, and it had taken some effort to get there. It was one of those tempestuous relationships you hear so often about that's on again, off again, like a defective lamp. We started dating because we'd been friends for 2 years, and then he spent the summer abroad, and he called me to say that he missed me, which was novel. I'd never been missed before. Overlooked, maybe, but not missed. And he comes back and he says, Petri, I've been doing some thinking, I missed you, and I think you're the type of girl that not only would I like to date, but like to take out to dinner respectfully and cuddle with afterwards. And I was on board. For about 2 weeks, it went great. Now, to me, our multiple years of friendship counted as getting to know each other over coffee, so I thought we could skip to the fun bits. Matt disagreed. He thought this was disrespectful. But it was sort of difficult to put the sex peanut butter back in the jar. So we had one of those conversations that starts off with, we need to talk, which is always a great sign, you know? People are always like, we need to talk. I just wanted to give you some feedback about how well this is going. Yeah, no, what he actually said was, Petri, I feel like we've moved too fast. I don't want to ruin our friendship, so I'm going to have to let you go. And I was not on board with that. So I did what you usually do. I took him out to coffee and attempted to remonstrate with him. I was like, look, take the long view. All relationships end in breakups or in death. You might as well give it a shot. That didn't work. I wrote him a sonnet. To know me is to love me, and you've known me 3 times now. not work either. I downloaded an online series of how to get your man back or your money back within 60 days, guaranteed. And weirdly, that did work. At least we were dating again within the 60-day time frame. Of course, I sort of suspected it wasn't the online series. I was like, Matt, I know I've been doing sit-ups and eating kale like this strange man on the internet said. I'm pretty sure that's not why we're dating. Why are we dating? And he's like, well, I've been writing a play about my life. And everyone who read it was like, this girl and he, why are they not together? She's perfect for him. So I saw the mistake that I had made. And after that, he was very on board. We watched his favorite movies and his favorite episodes of The Ben Stiller Show. He recited monologues from Hamlet and asked for my feedback. The sensitive, artistic type that Matt was beginning to sense that this might be love. And even the totally not sensitive person that I was beginning to pick up on the fact that he might be stockpiling potatoes for me. Still, when he said he loved me, I had no idea what to say. The more I hear about love, the more it terrifies me. Love sounds like a diabolical Santa. It comes for you when you least expect it. It knows everything about you. You come home from work one day and love has snuck down your chimney and is hiding in your living room behind a plant with a burlap sack, breathing heavily. You look at your loved one, you see rainbows and unicorns exploding out of their chest cavity and butterflies come to life inside you. So I'd heard. And nothing like that happened when I looked at Matt. I love you? I mean, sure, I had some potatoes for him, but not like mashed or scalloped. At best, boiled. At worst, those like potatoes that you leave in the corner for a while and you come back and there's like a green thing growing out of them. Metaphorically speaking. I told myself, look, Petri, all relationships end in breakups or in death, and I wasn't ready to die, so I broke up with him. But that's the trouble with dating these sensitive, artistic types. Our relationship was over, but my stint as his muse was just getting started, which I soon discovered when we wound up in the same playwriting class, the big fancy one where they produced your play at the end of the semester. Who was this Joe Baker character in his play? Who was blonde and arm-wavy. Why did she keep giving people watermelons and writing sonnets and saying that all relationships ended in breakups or in death? Now, I'm not saying that Matt was not a good creative writer. He was very good at spelling. But all the good stuff in there was mine. Those quips that Joe was saying were things that he'd transcribed verbatim from conversations that we'd had. I'd reared those witticisms up from childhood. Had there been any sort of prenup, they would have been with me. And with every draft, it just got worse. Now Joe delivered long monologues about how she'd lost the best thing in her whole life. And Matt glanced hopefully across the classroom at me. I would try to sabotage him after Joe had delivered a verbatim line transcribed from an actual conversation we'd had. I'd raise my hand and say, yeah, I don't think people really talk like that. Maybe cut that. But there was no good. And what was even worse was the way the rest of the class was responding. She was nicer last semester, they said. He clearly is in love with her, and she just wants to make everything into a joke. So that's when I started telling this crazy ex story. I had to take my life back. But see, exes are like pets. People resemble their pets. If your dog is a psychopath, take a good look in the mirror. And for every dude writing a play about watermelons and sonnets, there's a girl who made him that way. See, when you're not the one holding the camera, it can show you your seamy side. That's the trouble with being a muse. It's not what it's cracked up to be at all.